Justin. The behind-the-scenes live stream starts momentarily. But first, thanks to our wonderful sponsors. I don't know if you just saw the news, but average U.S. household debt just hit $152,000. That's mortgages, cars, cards, student loans. But the national debt just hit $37 trillion. It's all going up. Ask yourself this. When the system hiccups, who bails you out? It's not the Fed, not the politicians, and that's why I own gold. Gold doesn't need a CEO, doesn't need missed earnings. It doesn't freeze your account on a Friday at 4:59. While they print, gold just sits there doing what it's done for thousands of years. Store value. If you're done playing musical chairs with your
Live from high atop Monroe Center in downtown Grand Rapids, we're talking about what matters most to you in West Michigan. Join the conversation now at 616-774-2424. That's 616-774-2424. It's West Michigan Live with Justin Barkley on Wood Radio.
Yeah, welcome in, folks. What a day. Heading into a massive weekend. The news never stops. We're going to try and do our best to make sure you stay up to date on it all. And, of course, the stories you just won't hear anywhere else. There's a reason for that, by the way. Breaking it out, giving you some context and giving you the news you need to know. All coming up. In fact, big news out of West Michigan. We'll cover that in a way that you haven't heard yet. And the biggest news of them all coming up.
News, weather, and traffic. And the biggest stories of the day. We're talking about what matters most in West Michigan and beyond. This is the Big Three. Now today's Big Three.
Yeah, as I said, the stories that matter most, the ones you won't hear anywhere else, talking about them around the water cooler, the dinner table, no matter where you are. Good friends. Heartland Home Mortgage, Dave Galloway and the team ready to help you buy, refi, home equity line of credit as we start to see the Feds dropping some of those rates. Might be time to check that out again. Dave Galloway and the team, reach out to them. They can help you like they've helped me. We've saved thousands, and so many others that listen to this program have every time we've used them. And gosh, I can't imagine going anywhere else. They're faster, better than the big banks. Reach out at hhmlending.com and get help today. He's a bad guy. That's what President Trump said yesterday about John Bolton, who was indicted. I think it was 16 counts, the espionage.
Bolton was just indicted by a grand jury in Maryland. Do you have a reaction to that?
I didn't know that. You tell me for the first time, but I think he's, a bad person. I think he's a bad guy. Yeah, he's a bad guy. It's too bad, but it's the way it goes.
Bad hombre. We'll talk about that a little bit later on. Former National Security Advisor to the President indicted by a federal grand jury in Maryland, 18 counts, including transmitting and retaining classified information. The case alleging Bolton shared more than 1,000 pages of sensitive diary-like documents with relatives and stored classified files at his Maryland home. Yeah, that sounds familiar. No budget, no pay. While federal government remains shut down, the Michigan Congressman Bill Huizenga, and of course, taking a look at a thought I think many have had. Why should they get paid if they can't get it done? He says, here. In fact, he's joined with California Democrat Scott Peters, teaming up with a bold bipartisan plan, no budget, no pay. The bill blocking congressional paychecks. Matter of fact, he's already given up on his during this time. We'll talk about that with him coming up in just moments. But in the meantime, Ace Frehley, founding member of KISS, dead at 74 today. With that news that broke coming out yesterday. 74. It's hard to believe, huh? In the meantime, join us on a free-for-all Friday with your phone calls now.
Call Justin now at 616-774-2424. That's 616-774-2424. West Michigan Live with Justin Barkley on News Radio Wood 1300 and 106.9 FM.
Shout it Out loud and a little bit louder, as they say, a little bit louder for the people in the back. Congressman Bill Heisinger here with us right now, shouting for
That's
the
some great
rooftops.
bump music, my friend.
He say, hey, you know what? People are shouting it from the rooftops right now. Hey, if you guys can't get this thing done, specifically Democrats, it started as the Schumer shutdown. I'm starting to call it the Schumer shakedown. Because if you look at all these things he wants and he's asking for, it's incredible. I saw Speaker Johnson talking about this long laundry list of things. It's just incredible. But this bill you're putting out there in bipartisan support on this, I think a lot of people are excited to see it.
Yeah, look, it's just not right if our federal employees, whether it's TSA, Coast Guard, Customs and Border Patrol, ICE, Department of Agriculture, not to mention our troops, if they're not able to get their paychecks, why in God's green earth would we be able to get our paychecks? So now I took voluntarily, I said I'm not going to take a paycheck, but I want to ramp up the pressure on some of my colleagues. And I think, frankly, the American people, the taxpayers, deserve a serious-minded Congress. And we've gotten away from that more and more. And, look, at the end of the day, this is probably the most important thing, and constitutionally the thing that we are required to do, which is to appropriate federal dollars and the federal spending for the federal government.
Yeah, and as you mentioned, I think this seems fair, especially at a time we talked about how ridiculous this whole shakedown is right now. Can you just spread some light on some of this? This is a continuing resolution. It only lasts until a couple of weeks into November here, or whatever it might be, and it's the same thing they voted on and for in the past.
Yeah, and interestingly enough, Chuck Schumer has allowed the federal government to shut down only twice now and in 2018. Think about what the common denominator is. The initials are DJ and T. So this is really what it's all about, right? And it's about the anti-Trump rallies that are going to be happening this weekend. It's about him staring down a primary opponent named AOC. It's about Hakeem Jeffries having a primary opponent in New York as well. So really, this is more about politics than it is about policy, and it's trying to satisfy the radical progressive left and the Democrats. Now, here's the one interesting thing. Probably one of the more salient voices in this entire thing has been John Fetterman, of all people, out of Pennsylvania, who said the quiet part out loud, which is, look, the Democrats put this in as a temporary subsidy for Obamacare, and they knew it at the time. And this isn't about even health care. This is about Donald Trump and opposing Trump and the progressive radical base of his party. And that was pretty interesting. I definitely retweeted that one, by the way.
It's really interesting when he's making the most sense out of all of them. By the way, I think it just shows
at least on the Democrat side.
Yeah,
at least on the Democrat side.
It shows how far they've come. And a lot of people will say that people that voted for Trump specifically will say, I didn't leave the Democrat Party, they left me. Perfect example. Congressman, you've also been leading the charge with a letter here to get federal law enforcement paid. Tell us a little bit about that.
Yeah, well, and we did this. We coupled it up actually with a bill, a standalone bill that I have. That if this stretches on, we're encouraging our leadership to take it up, along with a pay our troops. I'm saying we need to pay our DHS employees. That covers Coast Guard, that covers TSA, that covers ICE and Customs and Border Patrol and all of those organizations. And the Trump administration's been having to just kind of go through extraordinary measures, finding money because they don't want to put our troops or our law enforcement in this spot. So they've been able to find those pools of money to be able to make sure those paychecks are happening, but that's only temporary. And so what we had done is we had written a letter to Office of Management and Budget, Russ Voigt, and encouraging him, and administration had sent that to them, saying, "We want you to do this. Please try to find a way." They did. They were very pleased with the fact that we encouraged them to do that. And so but it's a temporary patch, and we need to come up with a solid long-term solution.
Congressman
That's,
Bill,
by the way, passing the federal appropriations bills.
Congressman Bill Huizenga, and the latest as we have these conversations, obviously, I've heard some folks talk about, hey, maybe this will wrap up soon. After this No King's Day, they get some steam out. But then you guys are going to be back at it again, which I think is kind of interesting in November to have to run through this again. But what's your take? How soon is this all going to come to a head? And when are we? I mean, is it even possible to know? I guess.
Yeah, and I've been out here in Washington pretty much the whole time. I'll be back again. The Senate comes back in again on Monday. My Senate friends and colleagues, though, are saying they're expecting this to last even longer than what the first Schumer shutdown was back in 2018. And so if that's the case, we're going to be heading into November with this, and then there's going to be real consequences. So I hope not. But what we need is, frankly, our senators in Michigan to start putting pressure on Chuck Schumer.
Yeah.
We need them to start voting to keep government open on a temporary basis, so then we can go in and have the debate, which we need to have about health care and about a whole bunch of other things. But we've got to have the government open first, and that's what President Trump needs. So that's what we're trying to deliver on. So I hope people are reaching out to our senators as well and letting them know that they need to start voting to keep government open.
Seems like the reasonable thing to do. Congressman Bill Huizenga, always a pleasure. Thank you so much for taking the time to be here with us this morning.
Hey, good to be with you. All right, everybody have a great weekend.
You too. God bless. And imagine that. There he was, there in D.C., unlike some other folks from Congress back here at home doing live shots, telling everybody, well, we're here working. And she was, of course, I'm talking about Skolton. And they busted her. They busted her here at home. Isn't that funny? I just, never a dull moment. You can't make this stuff up. But here we are. Hey, coming up, we'll talk more, in fact, about the Bolton indictment. I want to dig further into that as the arrests have begun. Why they matter in the world of find out, the fool around and find out era that we're in today. Plus, we talk to you at 616-774-2424. Jumping on the line this morning on a free-for-all Friday. If you're able, please join us for the national anthem.
Michigan Live with Justin Barkley on News Radio Wood 1300 and 106.9 FM and on demand anytime on the iHeartRadio app.
Here are your headlines from the Midwesterner this Friday, October 17th. I'm Robin Kaufman. It's a Midwesterner.news original story. Michigan State Police facing more litigation over promotion rigging at the post in Flint. This is where a former commander resigned last year over similar allegations detailed in a federal lawsuit. In other news, the Whitmer administration wants the Michigan Department of Natural Resources to euthanize 2 rescued animals, a blind baby deer named Peanut and a coyote named Coda. But a bipartisan group of lawmakers here in Michigan trying to stop this from happening, saying these animals are not threats, they are survivors. General Motors putting the brakes on a $1.4 billion plan to build electric vehicles at its Lansing Grand River assembly plant. Instead, GM will focus on making gas-powered Cadillacs at that facility as demand for EVs is low. For these stories and more, visit The Midwesterner at themidwesterner.news.
Running on empty? Mentality Health can help. Low testosterone might be the reason you're tired, gaining belly fat, or feeling irritable, unfocused, and disconnected. At Mentality, board-certified doctors run a full exam and blood panel on your first visit and offer tailored treatment, including FDA-approved therapy with semaglutide to cut fat while protecting muscle. The results? You'll be the dad, the husband, the man you were born to be. Go to mentalityhealth.com/radio to schedule your first visit today. mentalityhealth.com/radio. Good morning, everybody. Thank you so much for being here with us on the VIP live stream over on the Freedom Fam. We are behind the scenes. Thank you to Mando Mark Gritter this morning on justinbarclay.com/VIP and Locals Panda. Hemi. Did I say Gritter yet? Gritter, good morning, Michigan. Joe, good to see you. Kelly, good to see you. Jill, Salo, Sue, so many others jumping in this morning. Hey, it's just $7 a month right now to join. It's cheaper than a cup of the bougie coffee that you get from the place that's all woke now. Woke bucks. Get yourself a membership. Help support us. Keep us on the air because it costs money to stream this stuff. And, of course, we just appreciate the support. Now, it will go up at the end of the month, but you're grandfathered in. So if you act now, you'll save some money, which is awesome. Plus, if you join for a whole year, you'll get a month free, and I'll send you a copy of my book signed, Good News, Hope, and Encouragement for Trying Times. Everybody who becomes a member will be able to listen to the audiobook, which is, I think, another $10 value they charge you on Audible for that. That's basically the only place you can get it. So thank you for joining in this morning. We appreciate you. Over on a chat on Rumble this morning, the Rumblers, Rumble. Thank you, Rumblers, for being here. M. Lance, Sneebor, Such a Time as This, Ginger, Sheila. Thank you, guys. Always a pleasure. And on the booker, we got Suzanne. We got Brother Dave. Good to see you, man. Lori, do I ship to Mongolia? You know what? For you, I'll figure it out. I don't know if they'll accept my book in Mongolia, but you can tell me if maybe there's a way to get it to you. Good to see you, though. I saw you asking about that 4-letter word. We don't say that word in here. Dave said, anybody getting any snow? No! And leave us alone. It's been in the 70s. Been beautiful here. Hang on, folks. Back on the air. Stand by.
Auto Law, auto accident attorneys. Visit autolaw.com.
That's autolaw.com.
Getting out of debt is just the beginning. Financial peace can change everything, folks. Learn how to take control of your money with The Ramsey Show. Tonight at 6 on Wood Radio.
Back after it on a free-for-all Friday. Don't forget, not only can you join in on the phone lines at 616-774-2424, you can also use the MKD Funeral app talkback button, which is really simple. It's easy to use. You just click that little microphone right next to the play button on your app, and you can send us messages, and we'll get them here. We can play them on the air. It's really cool. Great way to do it. Comment, complaint. We'll take a number if it's a complaint. A question or anything. We'd love to hear from you. Powering the show today and every day, the Good Feet store, not only the show, but me every day as well. Improving people's lives 2 feet at a time every single day. You got foot pain, back pain, leg pain, you name it. Every single piece of revenue they get from their OS First socks during the month of October is going directly to this great cause here. It's a breast thing. And it helps breast cancer patients in Grand Rapids, plus portions of all the proceeds. So that may be the best time for you to walk in, literally, and see how they can help you. 28th Street, right in front of Costco, or in Portage on Westnedge in front of Kohl's at the Good Feet store. Yes, we're going to talk Peanut, not the squirrel, but Peanut the deer. You just heard a little bit of this story. We're going to talk Peanut the deer coming up here in just a little bit later on in the program. But this is a crazy, again, government overreach gone out of control. You know, they got this No Kings protest this weekend. No Kings. And I think it's probably the most effective protest to date because yet here we are, 250 years without a king. We'll celebrate later on next July. 250 years. No king. It's working. It's working well. But you know what we don't have? We have a queen. The Wolverine Queen. And you remember the shutdowns, how bad things were, how horrible all of that was. Well, you remember what she did to your grandma in the nursing home, right? Should come as no surprise that she doesn't have any sympathy, oh dear, for this baby deer named Peanut. Gretchen Whitmer trying to take, and this is incredible. A baby deer she wants to take out, and the story, I think folks are going to find horrific as well. Ghoulish for this time of year. More on not Mike Bolton, Michael Bolton. I celebrate his entire catalog, by the way. John Bolton yesterday, who was in...
Multiple sources are telling CNN the Justice Department will ask a federal grand jury today to indict President Trump's former national security advisor, John Bolton.
It happened.
This would be the third indictment of the president's self-described political enemies in just 3 weeks. I'm joined here at the table with a terrific group.
They kind of act like they didn't do this to him. They act like they didn't start all of this. MSD and C13, so upset, so horrified by it all. I don't know if you saw any of their coverage last night.
Yeah, since we've been back on the air, we have received confirmation that former national security advisor to Donald Trump, John Bolton, has been indicted. You
think some of these people are like, listen how bummed out she is. You think she's concerned that she may be next? Is that what's happening?
As Andrew and Glenn have pointed out, there are facts still to emerge. It is also a fact that he said of Donald Trump, quote, I don't think he's fit for office. I don't think he has.
Yeah, you think that's why he was indicted? Or do you think it was all the classified in the Espionage Act? Do you think maybe it was those minor details, Ms. Wallace?
The competence to carry out the job. There's no guiding principle that I was able to discern other than what's good for Trump's election. He also said about Donald Trump, what he was capable of on a daily basis was doing something more and more outrageous than the day before. John Bolton spent a lot of time on television. He's a prolific.
Hey, don't forget all of this. Yeah, well, Trump, it's all Trump. He's the one that's coming after. Don't forget, they had to indict him. A grand jury in Maryland. Okay, this is the swamp. A grand jury had to say there's enough evidence to charge this member of the swamp, this deep stater, John Bolton. The very same people that are part of it together. Now, I'm kind of floored they were able to get that done. It's really encouraging. We'll have to see what happens as the case moves forward. But wow, you can't put this on Trump. This is a grand jury did this, folks. Yeah. No matter what they say, truth, logic, and common sense lives here, and we won't let up. Back with you after this. Check our headlines. Bottom of the hour news next.
FYI. Like, literally. It's West Michigan Live with Justin Barkley on News Radio Wood 1300 and 106.9 FM.
Our 2025 iHeartRadio Music Festival, presented by...
All right, Behind the Streams live streamer. Appreciate you guys being here with us today. We are full speed ahead. I want to play more from Nicole Wallace in the CNN reports because, oh man, it's a rough day to be one of those folks. I can tell you that much. But first, let's thank some of our sponsors here.
Winter is just around the corner in West Michigan. Is your roof ready? The freezing temps, snow, and ice can take a toll on your roof, especially on dry, aging shingles. Don't wait until it's too late and you're stuck with leaks or costly damage. At Roof Max of Ada, they can extend the life of your roof with their all-natural treatment that restores flexibility and waterproofing to your shingles. It's safe, affordable, and at a fraction of the cost of replacement. Right now is the perfect time to schedule your free roof inspection before winter hits. Their schedule is filling up quickly, so call Roof Max of Ada today. at 616-393-7710. That's 616-393-7710. Or visit their website, roofsaversmi.com, to schedule your free roof inspection today. Protect your home, protect your wallet, and give your roof the care it needs to make it through the harsh winter season. Call now, 616-393-7710 or roofsaversmi.com.
Now, the latest news from West Michigan and beyond. News Radio Wood 1300 and 106.9 FM.
See if we get anything new here, folks. Stand by.
9:30, 58 on the Lakeshore, 55 in Grand Rapids. I'm Dave Wheaton. This is Wood Radio News. President Trump is prepared to host Ukrainian President Vladimir Zelensky at the White House today to help find a way to the end of the war between Russia and Ukraine. Fox's Jackie Heinrich from the White House explaining that the president is now suddenly hesitant on Zelensky's request for military help.
The president did have a different tone regarding Zelensky's request for tomahawks before talking to Putin versus after.
We need tomahawks for the United States of America, too. We have a lot of them, but we need them. I mean, we can't deplete for our country.
President Trump has voiced...
All right, so basically what you're hearing there is the report that he's going to meet with Zelensky, then eventually Putin. He's trying to put this thing to bed. Putin congratulated him on being able to put the Israel thing to bed, which was kind of nice. And he's hoping that he'd be able to get peace there too. So we'll have to watch that a little closer. Speaking of watching, here's the over-the-top, depressed MSDNC
writer. He's been in Republican politics for decades, and he made his disapproval and dislike of Donald Trump's temperament and lack of convictions well known. He did not go to the natural extension of that and support his opponent in the 2024 election. He was a policy critic of both President Joe Biden and Vice President Kamala Harris. He served, though, in the Trump administration at some of the most tumultuous times. He penned a book called The Room Where It Happens. And today, where are we at? October 16th, on the 9th month of Donald Trump's second term, one of Donald Trump's fiercest critics of both his lack of fitness and lack of core values or policy orientation has been indicted. I go to you, Andrew Weissman.
So let's look at the three people who have been charged. What is the message? What is going on here?
The message is clear, Weissman. It's this, plain and simple.
Millions of Americans use...
Fool around and find out. I mean, there's just no other way to put this. I mean, I hope it's as clear as I can see. Can you see that too? Fool around and find out. In fact, we're going to get comment on this coming up. Our next guest, the latest. Fool around and find out. You can't be messing around with it. By the way, did you know that Iran hacked into this? Guys, Bolton had all this information in an email. Iran hacked into it. If they were able to get into it.
So what this says to the future Letitia James, the future James Comey's, the people who are doing their job, who are trying to bring either civil cases, Letitia James.
No, the future is fool around, find out. It's insane what they did to him, and they ought to be held accountable. Look, if you're gonna get in the mud with the pigs, you're gonna come out dirty, kids. That's how it works.
On a civil case, James Comey referred a criminal matter with lots of factual predication. This is sending a message: don't do it, because in the future this can be the result. If you don't want to get indicted, put your head down and don't do your job. Now, I think it's particularly significant with respect to now indicting somebody.
By the way, you remember they never all this stuff they did to Trump, they've never done to anybody else before. He's saying this is sending a chilling effect that people may come after. Well, I hope they do. I hope they do. I hope they come after these people, because here's the deal. There should be two sets of rules. One for us and one for them. Because, you know, you and I get into any sort of trouble, any other way that's like this, they're going to slam us. It's very simple. Hey, by the way, before we jump back on the air, which we're about ready to do right now, please help us share this over on Facebook, the algorithm or whatever. I think we're being censored. We've been throttled way back recently. I want to encourage you to help us share this message so we get the word out.
Hey, it's Glenn Beck, and you're listening to West Michigan Live with our good friend Justin Barclay. The Glenn Beck program coming up at 10 on Wood Radio.
Back after it, the find out era, as what some are calling it. And, I couldn't agree more. No one is above the law. How long have we heard that anyway, right? No one is above the law. John Bolton indicted yesterday. In fact, we're talking about that this morning. Amongst other issues, the Schumer shakedown. I'm no longer calling it the shutdown. I'm calling it the shakedown. Democrats in the Senate holding the country at hostage. Here to talk about these things and more, Mike Rogers, who's running for Senate, former congressman here, and, of course, extensive national security background, too. Hey, I got to ask you about a couple of these things. So let's get to the shutdown in a second. First, let's start with Bolton. This is kind of serious business, isn't it? I mean, you got the Espionage Act, and I just, the other thing I read, too, sir, is that he, apparently Iran had hacked into his email, and he had some sensitive stuff in his email, and that was up for grabs. Welcome in.
Justin, thank you so much. It's great to be here. This is exactly why they have standards like you cannot use unclassified channels to communicate classified material. I'll tell you a quick story. I got a phone call when I was chairman of the House Intelligence Committee back in 2014, and the FBI called and said, hey, we need to come talk to you. And by the way, like a whole passel of people showed up. The CIA was there, the NSA was there, and what they were concerned about is that a third nation had gotten into our committee's low side, meaning non-classified network, meaning a staff member was texting on their their regular phone outside of the SCIF, and the Russians had gotten into it, and through that they very patiently were able to get conversations between me and the NSA director, and it was only scheduling matters, so it was non-classified, but it shows you the length that they will go and why you don't put classified material on these the things that aren't cleared for classified material. And apparently, according to what the indictment says, it may be up to thousands of pages of documents, which is very, very concerning.
And look, he knows better. I mean, this is not a simple mistake. This is someone who knows better, has made comments about other folks who have done things or he had questions about previously. This is somebody who knows better. This is not a simple little mistake here. You're talking about... I just talk about this, but this is you can try and MSDNC wants to do the best, CNN will maybe want to do their best to try and blame Trump for this, but a grand jury in Maryland had to indict this guy. It wasn't Trump.
Oh no, exactly. I mean, it's pretty devastating when you get this kind of amount of documents, and I'm sure that's what the grand jury saw was the sheer volume of what he was sending, and it's that premise of are you allowed to do it? Well, clearly no. The law is very clear on this. Did you understand what you were doing was illegal? Clearly, he spent his life in national security, so that's what I think is so concerning.
Speaking of which, and this has been something that we've been talking about for a while now, and I just don't know. We just talked to Congressman Heisinger, who's got this bipartisan bill he's got with Congressman Peters from California. No budget, no pay. I kind of like this idea. There's like I said, I don't call it the Schumer shutdown anymore. I call it the Schumer shakedown. After everything we've seen, the laundry list of things that Speaker Johnson has gone through the other day, listing out that they want to make some sort of a deal here, just to go on and do a CR that only lasts for a couple of weeks. That's to continue things that they've voted for in the past is insane to me. We question why he's doing it, but in the midst of all of this, it's Americans that are being hurt. And, of course, it goes on any longer, it's going to get really serious. But that just shows you how important the Senate is, I think, right now, I'd guess.
Completely. And by the way, they voted, Justin, 10 times to keep the government shut down that night. They is the Democrats. It's Chuck Schumer. And Chuck Schumer came out and said, hey, the longer this goes, the better for us Democrats. Better for our politics.
Wow.
And if you think about how horrendous that is, law enforcement not getting paid, our service members probably not going to get paid. There's somebody right now counting on their Social Security check that's snagged up somewhere, and the people who are assigned to help them get that Social Security check in the mail or in their bank can't show up for work, and so they're not getting paid. And it's just wrong to hold America hostage so that they can send money on LGBT programs overseas, which is what's part of they've been asking for, and illegals getting Medicaid. This should be the easiest answer. They say, well, that's not what it does. Well, then vote for it. Then why are you dragging your feet? If that's your problem, then vote for the extension. You can talk about it. And the other one is they don't want able-bodied Americans to have to work 20 hours a week to get their benefits. And by the way, it's 20 hours a week, and they're able-bodied. These are not people who can't work. Seniors, pregnant women, children, that's what Medicaid was designed for. We're trying to protect that, and all of these other add-ons like able-bodied folks who just don't want to go to work and illegals who are getting, and they say it's over 2 million illegals are getting Medicaid. It just makes no sense. And they're hoping that people aren't paying attention and they're blaming Republicans, and that may be the most cynical politics I've heard in a very long time. And I called for last year. Matter of fact, I think it was on your show, Justin, last year. I said, if Congress doesn't get a budget done by October 1st every year, which is when the fiscal year ends, the Congress should not get paid. Not anyone else. They should all get paid.
Right.
But it's Congress's responsibility. They shouldn't get paid. And guess who's getting paid, by the way? The only ones getting paid are Congress. So, all the incentives are wrong. We need to realign congressional interests along with American interests.
It's been a big, in fact, couple of weeks here for President Trump. We saw here in Michigan, in fact, I know you love this, Stellantis announcing $13 billion of investments. Tariffs are working. They're bringing work and, of course, jobs back, investment back into the United States. That's massive. There was one point that Stellantis was talking about leaving altogether. So that's huge. We see this massive peace deal done, of course, in the Middle East. Pray that continues to hold. That's a big one. And now the president is working on Russia and Ukraine. And, of course, Zelensky, I think, meeting today, and then they have a possible meeting with Putin a little bit later on down the road. This is his next big piece. But there's so much happening all at once. And all in the middle of this, which I think is kind of interesting, is this little protest they've got planned for tomorrow called No King's Day. And I don't know about you, but former Congressman Mike Rogers on with us right now running for Senate. But this is maybe the most effective yet. We haven't had a king in 250 years. It's wild.
I know. It is just shocking to me that they say when we're engaged in the implementation of democracy in our constitutional republic, that somehow and they don't like the outcome, that means that he's a king. And it's really concerning to me that many people would get snookered into going out and standing and waving a sign that says no kings. And I ask you for what? When you think about it, you're right. We've got peace in the Middle East, maybe the best opportunity since 1948 to bring peace in that region to all parts of the region. The Abraham Accords now is being talked about extended. That will bring widespread peace. Our Arab League partners will be signing that, or hopefully will be signing that. That's all leadership by Donald Trump that brought us there. And guess what? Workers in Michigan who are suffering under Biden inflation. Remember, all that inflation that Biden did over 4 years, the president's trying to get that right, and he's only been there, whatever it is now, 11 months or 10 months. And he's working on it. And one of the big ways was to bring gas prices down. And guess what came down first? Gas prices. We're starting, hopefully, to get that under control. But Biden inflation is killing you. And so what did the president do? We've got no tax on overtime, which is about 3 million Michiganders are going to enjoy for their family more money in their pocket. waitresses and waiters across the state are going to see no tax on tips, and don't underestimate what amount that is. And if you're, by the gig economy worker and you tip the guy now at Uber and Lyft, guess what? They get to put that in their pocket. They're the ones working all day. Why should the government have their hands into that? This is going to have real consequences of real money in your pocket. And the Democrats are out there protesting. And the last bit on this, just because it's so important, and I did some rural hospital visits last week, Justin, and rural hospitals are really, really important in so many communities across Michigan. There was a $50 billion fund that was put in there to make sure that rural hospitals are okay so they can continue to provide service in rural Michigan. And by the way, the Democrats are opposed to all of that. If you can answer me that one, Batman, I have no idea what these people are thinking. I don't really think they care about working people anymore. They walk right by that. They're longingly look at the two coasts, and apparently the folks in the Democrats in the state think that California and New York is doing this right. I can't believe that they want to bring that kind of thinking to Michigan.
Former Congressman Mike Rogers with us, running for Senate here in Michigan. To your point, gas prices, I just paid the lowest I paid in a long time here in Michigan. We got prices down $2.70-something. Who knows where they'll go in the next day or two, but I think that's a really fascinating point. And then I saw Aldi, of all places, they released their Thanksgiving meal. And, they're kind of a lower price chain. You can get some good food there for lower prices. People like to frugally shop Aldi. They released their cost of their Thanksgiving meal this year, and I think it's $40. That's $7, I think they said $7 less than last year for the entire meal to feed the family. That's a pretty big headline. I don't think we're hearing enough about that.
Well, the Democrats don't want you to hear about it, Justin. That's the problem. And they want to tell you about all the things that they believe are going to get you to vote for them. So we're working through this Bidenflation part, and that's really, really important. We're having to pay for that 4 years of absolutely wild government spending and them getting in your pocket and wanting more taxes. And what the result is by lowering fuel prices, and Aldi obviously proves this point, that's the number one driver. The first driver. There's many drivers, but that's the first driver. And the other one is now if we can get energy rates under control, because the Democrats wanted you to believe that wind and solar were the only way you could get power.
Yes.
And by the way, what that meant is you're now paying more for energy than you were before. So we understand that we're getting after it. You either have your power on or you have it off. And when you have wind and solar, guess what? Certain parts of the day or night, it's off. With traditional natural gas and others, it's on, and that becomes cheaper for you. And so we're going through all that transition. I believe if you give the president some time here, we're going to be in really good shape next year. And all those tax cuts I talked about are starting into next year. The reinvestment is happening. I've talked to a small business guys adding 30 jobs in a small community.
Wow.
Because of reshoring and the automobile companies trying to bring work back to Michigan. These are small guys. Those 30 jobs are important for that small community. Another guy, first time in 25 years, having a second shift. This is working. We have to give it time. And if you care about building things in Michigan and America and not China, this is the right path to be on.
Yeah, former Congressman Mike Rogers running for Senate here in Michigan. I am so glad to hear you say, in fact, about this energy issue. I think it's one of the most important, maybe the most, but it's going to be in the next few years. If it's not in 26, but the energy bills for folks residentially are creeping up, but also on the commercial side as well, and industrial. And when we talk about trying to make things in Michigan again, this is a big factor in it all. Folks really need to be paying attention to this. We got AI and data involved in all of this as well. And boy, it's really good to hear somebody thinking about it. I'd love to have a conversation with you further about this down the road.
I would love it. And not only that, but think about how many acres of farmland are going away to government-subsidized solar panels. It makes no sense to me whatsoever to take food production off and put these solar panels on. And remember, the sun doesn't shine. Wind doesn't blow. You can't rely on solar power. We saw it in Texas. They had huge problems. They were too reliant on solar and wind power.
And it's not just an inconvenience. People died.
Shove this down our throat.
Yeah, it's not just an inconvenience. People died in Texas. And I think lots of folks miss out on that, but not you. Thank you so much for talking about it. RogersForSenate.com. You got it. Thank you, sir. Appreciate you taking the time today. God bless. Mike Rogers running for Senate here in Michigan. And, of course, the conversations you just won't hear anywhere else. That energy piece is big, folks. I heard Glenn talking about it the other day, and it's not a bright picture that they're painting that is ahead. But if we get to work and get ahead of it, there may be some things that we can do to curb what's coming. So we'll continue ringing the alarm talking about that. It's also Free for All Friday. You can join us on the program, so do so next.
Tackling the hot button issues with style. It's West Michigan Live with Justin Barclay on News Radio Wood 1300 and 106.9 FM.
Here are your headlines from the Midwesterner this Friday, October 17th. I'm Robin Poffman. It's a Midwesterner.news original story. General Motors putting the brakes on a $1.4 billion plan to build electric vehicles at its Lansing Grand River Assembly plant. Instead, GM will now focus on making gas-powered Cadillacs at that facility. Demand for EVs is low. Secretary of State Jocelyn Benson's random 2024 election audit, leaving out all precincts in Detroit. The sample didn't include any ballots from Detroit and Wayne County or Troy and Oakland County. The goal of the audit, to ensure election integrity. The Whitmer administration wants the Michigan Department of Natural Resources to euthanize 2 rescued animals, a blind baby deer named Peanut and a coyote named Coda. But a bipartisan group of lawmakers here in Michigan trying to stop this from happening, saying these animals are not threats, they are survivors. For these stories and more, visit the Midwesterner at themidwesterner.news.
Run it on empty? Mentality Health can help. Low testosterone might be the reason you're tired, gaining belly fat, or feeling irritable, unfocused, and disconnected. At Mentality, board-certified doctors run a full exam and blood panel on your first visit and offer tailored treatment, including FDA-approved therapy with semaglutide to cut fat while protecting muscle. The results? You'll be the dad, the husband, the man you were born to be. Go to mentalityhealth.com/radio to schedule your first visit today. mentalityhealth.com/radio. All right, full speed ahead, folks. Man, oh man, the fastest hour on radio is flying right by. We, like I said, we've only got just a little bit left of this, a little bit left inside this program today. So let's make sure we do it up right. Let's make sure we do it up right. Here we go. Hang on, back on the air in just a moment. Stand by. About 30 seconds left here. Let's get this right. Here we go. Maybe get a call or two back on the air as we make it happen. Hang on here. Stand by.
SaversMI.com.
Set Wood Radio is a preset now on our iHeartRadio app. Powered by Michigan Auto Law. Auto accident attorneys. Visit Autolaw.com.
That's Autolaw.com.
After a 2-0 start on the road, the Griffins are on home ice for the first time this season as they begin their 30th anniversary season at Van Andel Arena. They host the Manitoba Moose tonight, and we'll have it for you 6:45 on Wood Radio.
Let's check a quick look here. A little bit of grain on the Dow, S&P 500, NASDAQ down a little bit. Kind of mixed. Dow ticking up, CNBC's headline, as traders try to shake off bank credit concerns. That's the latest there. Well, no matter what you're facing, obviously we know there's a little bit of a roller coaster ride, especially as President Trump tries to get things back on track, and we're watching that shake out right now. But you don't have to feel nauseous. You don't have to be concerned whether you want to retire today, tomorrow, 10, 20 years down the road. They take a holistic approach at Talon Wealth to make sure that you enjoy that roller coaster ride, sleep well at night. Mike Lester and the team gone beyond the basics. Customized, personalized, comprehensive financial services tailored directly for your needs. You can find out more when you go to guardingyournestegg.com. That's guardingyournestegg.com, or call 616-661-1000. 616-661-1000. Nancy is up first on a free-for-all Friday. Good morning, Nancy. How are you? Welcome in.
Good morning. Hey, good morning, Justin. Hey, we can't forget that the whole reason the Democrats are against Trump, it's not just because they hate him. It's because I'm getting the echo on mine. It's because they want to transform, in Obama's words, this country into an authoritarian communist rule. That's the whole thing right there. They could give a rat's behind about us, the Democrats.
Yeah, this is all about, I think you're right. It's all about getting Trump. The whole No Kings protest thing. By the way, did you see this? Who was it sponsored by? It was sponsored by the Communist Party of America.
Oh, there we go, yeah.
Of course.
It doesn't surprise me one bit.
No, it doesn't. It doesn't surprise me either. It is really sad to watch, but I think you're right. It's all about trying to get Trump, make him look bad. But the problem they've got, and thank you, Nancy, for the call. The problem they've got is that the news cycle is so full, and he's had so many wins lately that normally this time the strategy is they'd make this thing draw out, and there'd be lots of pain and people on headlines through the news. Just not enough time for that anymore. You see how fast the fastest hour on radio flies by, and we barely get to scratch through and cover any. We got more we'll cover on the after show later on. Steve Redmond's on. Ottawa County Patriots, big event coming up. Steve, welcome in.
Hi, Justin. Yeah, thanks for getting me on. We had planned our topic for next Tuesday, October 21st, but we've got to move it to Tuesday, November 18th. Because one of our speakers was out of the country and couldn't be here. So we want people to know that there will not be a meeting next Tuesday, October 21st in Zealand, but it will be November 18th, same time, same place. And the topic is violence in America, the challenge of rising violence and crime in America. And we're going to hit all aspects of that topic because it's so critical today, and it's complex and it's pervasive. And we'll be getting into the root causes of political violence and growing unrest in the culture. We'll also get at how anti-Semitism and religious persecution add to the widespread violence and unease.
It's
and
probably
the dangers of anarchy, communism, and radical Islam that are tied up in this whole thing.
It's probably a good reminder, too,
Steve.
Steve. Yeah, it's probably a good reminder coming up. Again, you said that'll be moved. That meeting previously scheduled for next Tuesday will move to November 18th. It's probably a good reminder on a weekend like this weekend when we have these so-called No Kings protests that are going out there. People just stay away from them. Do not engage because they're looking for any opportunity to to do some of the things that we just don't want to see happening here. So we pray for peace throughout that through the weekend as well. Steve, thank you for all you do. If people want to find out more about your events, OttawaCountyPatriots.org, is that the best way?
Yep, that's where most of the information will be. We'll have this flyer up there shortly because we're adding more speakers and expanding the topic, but it will be in November 18th, not October 21st.
You got it. Thank you, brother. Appreciate you taking the time. God bless.
Thanks, Justin.
Yep. It's never a dull moment. That's the fastest hour on radio. It just flies on by. And we thank you for being here with us through it. Of course, like I said, we cover the show live and archived. The after show, never enough time to do it all. So that's why JustinBarclay.com and the iHeartRadio app, wherever you download your podcasts, you can listen to the after show and the shows that we release podcast over the weekend as well. Got a big one, another Maha update coming up later this weekend as well. In the meantime, Glenn Beck program's coming up next. First, we check our headlines. God bless.
Our Father, who art in the heavens, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done, on earth as it is in heaven. Give us this day our daily bread. Forgive us our trespasses. We forgive those who trespass against us. Lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from evil. God is the kingdom, the power, and glory forever and ever. Amen. Amen.
WOOD Grand Rapids, WOOD FM Muskegon. The news is next on Wood Radio.
Season number 30 of Griffins hockey begins this weekend at Van Andel Arena. Join us tonight for $2 as well as a magnet schedule giveaway from Huntington Bank. And tomorrow, receive a team calendar compliments of Fox Motors. Get tickets now at griffinshockey.com.
Hey, Doc, nice office.
All right, folks, after show ready to flow. Hang on one second. Coming up today, we got a special treat for you at 10:30. Maha Missy will join us. She's going to give us a little bit of an update on what we're talking about when it comes to the well, I don't know if you've seen this new documentary. I want to touch on this. We shared a little bit with you yesterday. I'm going to share more of it coming up, so you just have a little bit of a primer for what to expect. It is a massive documentary. I want to get into that. The inconvenient documentary. We'll do that coming up here in a second. And I had a couple other things I want to, but she'll join us coming up at 10:30. So kind of get a little bit of a bonus. We'll release that far and wide for everybody this weekend too. Get ready to strap in. It's going to be a heck of a ride. It's like drinking from a fire hose. Never a dull moment, but yes, you'll hear the stories you won't hear anywhere else, and we appreciate you being here with us for them today. I'm Justin Barclay. Welcome in, folks. The after show, the show after the show. That's why we call it the after show. Never enough time to get to all the things that we want to cover. Today, we will do just that and much more. I cannot wait. Looking forward to it. The conversations, I think, are going to be fascinating. No budget, no pay. We talked about that today. Of course, the shakedown continues. Schumer shakedown. But I've got some other news. Did you see? Of course, you probably did yesterday. Nancy Pelosi, and she spouted off about that question in January 6th and what happened and whether she was responsible that day or not. You probably saw that. Well, there's a response. Remember I said it's a find out era. A response that you, I think, are going to want to hear coming up from someone directly involved in that day, a high-ranking individual. We'll discuss that and more coming up. First, thanks to our good friends at ProTech Heating and Cooling, ProTechGR.com. Locally owned and operated since 2003. Lisa and the team are ready to help you. You know, they saved our bacon. I've told you this, and I couldn't be more thankful for it. Holy moly. I mean, I'm out of town. The air conditioning goes out. We find out it's not just the air. It's also the furnace. And she said, the guy doing the work there was saying, you know what? You got somebody looking out for you up above because you would have kicked that furnace on at some point. Could have been bad. We had an air conditioner, an old 30-year-old air conditioner that, I'll save you to spare you all the details, but it was leaking water, had 2 inches of water in it, and that water was leaking into the furnace, and it got the pipes that heat things up, got them all cracked and big holes in them. So he said, if you would have kicked that thing on, it wouldn't have been good news at all. Somebody was watching out for you. Up above, and the folks down here were ProTech Heating and Cooling. And we are so grateful, as my family and I just can't imagine. ProTech Heating and Cooling now offering a free humidifier or Remy Halo air purifier with any furnace and air conditioner installation for the month of October. Now, if you're a DTE Energy customer, you may be eligible for a free furnace tune-up, a discounted boiler tune-up. You can contact ProTech today to find out if you do qualify for that. But they'll help you, walk you through any questions you have. And not only do they have, obviously, all the HVAC, but they do water heaters. We've got a Bradford White water heater from them. Fantastic. Not a locally owned company. And they do generators, too. So if that's something something I've always sort of thought about. Well, what would that take? What would I need to do? Whole house generator. They can walk you through that and give you the details. By the way, this is the coolest thing. Look at the back of their trucks when they pull up, what you're going to see. That's so cool. I love it. They go above and beyond. Just little details like that. If they're willing to do things like that, imagine what they're doing when they work on your home. It's good stuff. ProTechGR.com. All right, so let's get into some of these stories. We saw, was it yesterday? Yeah. This clip came out, Nancy Pelosi being asked the question by that reporter. I guess she works for Mike Lindell, is what Terry told me yesterday, which I love even more. She asked the question, Miss Pelosi, what say you about being involved in January 6th?
Congresswoman Pelosi, are you at all concerned that the new January 6th committee will find you liable for that day?
Yes.
Are you at all concerned about the new January 6th committee finding you liable for that day? Why did you refuse the National Guard on January 6th?
Shut up. I did not refuse the National Guard. The president didn't send it. Why are you coming here with Republican talking points as if you're a serious journalist?
The American people.
This isn't serious?
People want to know. We still have questions. Thank you.
God bless her. I don't know who that is, but she deserves a raise. Mike, I'm telling you. By the way, Lindell TV, if that's one of their reporters, big pat on the back to them. Support Mike. Obviously, you know the MyPillow, 80% off. They got all kinds of great deals. Promo code Justin. But that's what you're help funding. That right there. That beautiful, beautiful moment. And I got to say, they're not used to that, are they? They just aren't. They're not used to having to be asked questions that are tough and you have no answers for them. Well, former Chief Stephen's son, who you may remember, the former chief of the U.S. Capitol Police. You've seen him on various testimony in front of Congress before. You know who I'm talking about if you're familiar. Of course, he had something to say about this. Why wouldn't he? I'm sure he's got something to say about it. He's probably not going to sit around and let her just mouth off like that. No. He says, let me present the facts. And by the way, this is a real problem she's got. That question that was asked, right to be asked, and a very real consequences behind this whole thing. He says, ma'am, let me help refresh your memory. It was your sergeant at arms who repeatedly denied my multiple requests for National Guard assistance before and on January 6th. Even on January 6th, your sergeant at arms denied my urgent request for over 70 minutes while he was, quote, running it up the chain for your approval. The Pentagon offered National Guard assistance, but I had declined because, she said, I had to decline, rather, because your sergeant at arms would not grant me the legal authority as required under law. Now, he's also posted, if you take a look at some of the timeline here, these are also posts of the requests and the denials, and this is smoking gun right here, folks. It wasn't until 2:08 p.m. they finally got authorization. 3 days before the request started coming in. We see there's going to be a crowd. This is going to possibly be a situation. Let's make sure that we have these folks here and ready to go. As you see, denied. Senate Sergeant at Arms Stinger, Pelosi Sergeant at Arms Irving said, we don't like the optics. The Sergeant at Arms at the Senate said he agreed. 11:53 the same day. Then, on January 6th, 12:58 p.m., just before 1 o'clock, Irving needs to run it up the chain to Pelosi, her Sergeant at Arms said. Stinger at the Senate won't override Pelosi's Sergeant at Arms. Stinger still waiting for Irving. Irving waiting for the okay from Pelosi. This is 1:28 now, back and forth. 1:34, Irving still waiting for the okay from Pelosi. 1:39, Senate waiting to concur with the House. 1:45, Irving says, okay, coming soon from Pelosi. 2:01, Irving stresses, okay, any minute. Finally, on January 6, 2:08 p.m., 3 days before they initiated all of this, over 3 days, Irving finally gives the authorization from Pelosi. Stinger concurs, National Guard can come out and be approved. It's smoking gun evidence. You may say to yourself, we've already known all this. Why do we care now? Because it's the find out era. All of this has to come to light. every single bit of it, what they've done to the American people, and they ought to be held accountable. You might say, well, I don't know that that's going to happen. Where are the arrests? I want to see more. Well, yeah, I do too. Some of this takes time. What I will tell you, and this is patience, you're going to have some patience, some of it is supernatural patience. I'll tell you that much. Some of it I think is supernatural on a whole nother level. Some patience to get through some of this. But remaining still yet, remaining consistent and persistent that that this is going to play out and that we will continue to hold people accountable. I got some more good news I got to get to you. Did we get to see? Hang on. Let me see if I there might be video of this. Let me just take a quick look. Yep, we got video. Here it is. Took us a minute to get through it because I won't even begin to tell you what's happening in the studio today, but here we go.
Security advisor John Bolton arriving at a United States District Court in Greenbelt, Maryland. He is expected to surrender.
Bolton had to turn himself
after being indicted on 18 counts over the alleged mishandling of classified documents. Bolton faces 8 counts of transmission of national.
How soon do you think it is before we hear Bolton has some sort of memory issues? There's some cognitive decline. He's going to end up like Mueller in one of the old folks' homes. He can't talk. He doesn't know. He doesn't remember. How soon do you think it's going to be before we hear that?
National defense information and 10 counts of retention of national defense information.
18 counts.
The documents contained intel on future attacks, foreign missile launches, and human intel sources. Security advice.
Here's CNN handling this yesterday, by the way.
Reporters, including Caitlin Polance, who is bringing us this reporting. Caitlin, what do we know?
Well, Dana, we know now from various sources that the grand jury in Maryland in federal court is expected to be hearing evidence about John Bolton this afternoon. The Justice Department is expected to go in there and ask for an indictment of the former national security advisor to Donald Trump and somebody who is not just well known from the Trump era, but a longtime government official. This is a case where it's been in the works for years. It's been worked on because Bolton at one point was discovered having an AOL email account, according to the sources I've talked to, where he was writing notes to himself about his time in the Trump White House, and that could include classified documents. We also know from a recent search just 2 months ago that there were many documents, including ones labeled as about weapons of mass destruction, about Allied strikes, things that had markings on them that said classified, secret. There were phones, computers, drives, all of that seized from his house. His lawyer has said this could all be very old material from the George W. Bush administration, and nothing inappropriate was being kept by Bolton. But there is still an important possibility here that this is a very serious national security case, and that the Justice Department does continue wanting to enforce cases like these. It might not
this may be a serious case,
be all of a political decision.
So is it Jason? And it's what a great question. Will Bolton's mustache get its own handcuffs?
Caitlin, and that's really important. It's something that you emphasized yesterday when you brought us your new great reporting then.
I love it. You can't make some of this stuff up. Can't make some of this stuff. Okay, so Bolton goes and turns himself in. The FBI yesterday with this statement. FBI's investigation revealed that John Bolton allegedly transmitted top secret information using personal online accounts and retained said documents in his house in direct violation of federal law. Case is based on meticulous work from dedicated career professionals at the FBI who followed up the facts without fear or favor, which we're hearing a lot. This director, Kash Patel, weaponization of justice will not be tolerated. This FBI will stop at nothing, rather, to bring to justice anyone who threatens our national security. That's a statement from the FBI. And to Jason's point, will his mustache get its own handcuffs? Only time will tell. Only time will tell, Jason. It's to find out era, though. Everyone ought to understand what is playing out here. You remember this headline? Former U.S. envoy says Snowden should be hanged as a traitor. Oh, my. Rules for thee, but not for me. Remember the thing? No one is above the law. No one is above the law. We ought to treat everyone with the same sort of, I would think, non-biased, non-partisan manner as the next person.
The president had a habit of asking to retain sensitive documents.
This is Bolton talking about Trump, by the way.
And from time to time, he did that, and we didn't know what happened to them. And it was always a concern that because he didn't really fully understand the risks to sources and methods and other dangers of revealing classified information, that it might get out to the wrong people.
Donald
President.
So is nobody above? I don't have a clip of this yet, but I'm looking. If I can get a no one is above the law piece from him, that would just make everything just so glorious. No one.
It's maybe of the highest level of sensitivity, or they may not. We just don't know. So
here he is talking about the Mar-a-Lago raid and what was seen.
We could speculate all night here. I'd prefer that the Justice Department move as rapidly as possible as they can through this in order that as much as can be made and would be made public is done as quickly as we can, because otherwise the department is left out there twisting in the wind, to use a Watergate phrase, and it doesn't have adequate defenses against the political onslaught of Donald Trump.
Well, they ought to act as quickly as possible here as well. You think this guy ever thought he was going to have to answer for any of this stuff? Do you think he ever thought he was going to have to deal with any of this? And how serious? MSD and C13, they know. Look at the looks on their faces. This says everything.
Yeah, so John Bolton was charged with 18 federal counts, and I apologize, I'm going to look down. I'm reading this. We're still just getting this. We have the first 8 counts are transmission of national defense information. The second set of 9 counts, that's counts 9 through 18, is retention of national defense information. And that looks like it's U.S. Code Title 19, Section 793 D and E, which is part of the Espionage Act. Now, there was another statute that they were considering, and it looks like they've only charged him with those Espionage Act statutes, but we're still reading through this indictment. It's 26 pages long. There's a lot of background information here, and I apologize, but we're literally just getting this in right now, so I'm still... Yeah, so...
They got the serious look on their face. They know how bad it is. And it is. This is a serious situation. It's no bueno. Bad hombres. And, of course, he's going to have to be held accountable. Hey, there's a reason why Lady Justice is blind. Do you know, like, that whole, you'll see it as a statue or in a painting or whatnot, that whole idea. Lady Justice is blind for this reason. It is the promise here in America and justice, period, that no matter your position in life, no matter your skin color, your religion, your connections, that everyone would receive the same treatment. That Lady Justice is blind. She doesn't see any of that. She only looks directly at the facts to figure out whether or not this individual, in this case, is guilty and should be held accountable.
Republicans used to believe that not prosecuting criminals led to more crime. The answer here is take the politics out of the decision, and in this case, proceed with the prosecution and do the same for anybody else who does anything even remotely like it. Just read the indictment.
Boy, the find out era in full swing.
And ask yourself, if the government can prove what they allege here, shouldn't this man go to jail? The simple fact he had the documents, for any reason or no reason, should subject him to prosecution.
Isn't that something? It's funny. It's funny now. It is. I don't know that he's, thrilled about this, excited about this. But there's clip after clip after clip of this, folks. Yeah, you got to understand there's so much of this stuff out there. I think this is him talking about Assange at the time.
He's committed clear criminal activity. He's no more a journalist than the chair I'm sitting on. The information that he divulged did, in fact, put many people in jeopardy. It undercut the ability of the United States to have confidential diplomatic communications, not just with other foreign governments, but in many countries with dissidents, people who, even speaking to American diplomats, could find themselves in trouble. And so, he's been complaining about his treatment over the past period of time. He's the one who sought asylum in the Ecuadorian embassy. Now he faces extradition to the United States. I presume he will get due process in the United Kingdom to determine whether extradition should go forward. And when he gets to the United States, he'll get due process here. And I hope he gets at least 176 years in jail for what he did. Stella?
It's pretty clear, isn't it? I mean, it's kind of hard. It's kind of hard to understand when you put all of that together that these people they just don't see that because up until this point, and that's the disruption Trump has brought. Up until this point, there was a good old boys club, and you and I weren't in it. And if you were in trouble for any of these things, that's why they did the little Letitia James, the mortgage fraud, that lady that works at the Fed, all of this stuff. It's find out era. This is it, Comey. You never thought he'd be charged for anything? Dinesh D'Souza asked the question, and I think it's brilliant, and I don't know, maybe you can answer here too. Comey, Letitia James, Bolton, I'm excited. Who would you like to see indicted next? It's a good question. I think Jack Smith will make that list at some point. Nancy Pelosi certainly ought to be on there. Schumer, maybe. These people, it's a new era, folks. It's a new Fannie Willis, Bonnie. That's a really good point. Fannie. We ought to slap the handcuffs on her. Hey, what does Trump think about the government shutdown? He wants it over as soon as possible. He knows they've got to get down to business. They've got real work to get down to. He was asked about this yesterday. In fact, here he is talking about it. I believe this is from the Oval.
All we want to do is just extend. We don't want anything. We just want to extend, live with the deal that they had. They want to spend $1.5 trillion on illegal immigrants, and they want to destroy health care for everyone else. And it's crazy. It's crazy. People that are here illegally, they want to spend $1.5 trillion. So we're just not going to do it. No, we have to take care of our health care. Now, we're doing that today, and we're doing it with, favored nations, the most favored nations. Your costs are going to be dropping greatly. All we want to do is just extend. We don't want anything. We just want to extend, live with.
She's talking about the continuing resolution. By the way, that's what that means. Just extend. They want to continue what they've been doing just until they can work on this new deal. They would do that, I believe, in November. Who knows? But the point is keeping the government open. Trump on his conversation with President Putin from Russia.
You also posted about your call with President Putin today, and you spoke about the meeting in Hungary with him. Do you have a timeline or a date set for when?
I would say within 2 weeks or so. Pretty quick. Marco Rubio is going to be meeting with his counterpart, as you know, Lavrov, and they'll be meeting pretty soon. They're going to set up a time and a place very shortly. Maybe it's already set up. They've already spoken. And I thought it was a very good phone call. I thought very productive. But I'll be meeting with President Putin, and we'll make a determination. Tomorrow I'm meeting with President Zelensky, and I'll be telling them about the call. I mean, we have a problem. They don't get along too well, those two, and it's sometimes tough to have meetings, so we may do something where we're separate but equal. We'll meet and talk parties, but this is a terrible relationship the two of them have, and it's one of those things. I've seen things that nobody would believe, but this is one of them. So we're going to be meeting in Hungary. Viktor Orban is going to be hosting, and it's really something that's time. Last week, over 7,000 people were killed. That's ridiculous.
Can you imagine? And this is a guy Democrats call Hitler. He wants peace. He's worked, by the way, in the Middle East for Israel. It's really doing a bad job of being Hitler. Any sort of authoritarian.
Looking at what's happening, and that wasn't the deal that was made, and we'll see what happens. It's calmed down.
Speaking of Israel, this is questions about Hamas and what's happening there. I don't know if you've seen it, but violence is continuing in Gaza, and Hamas is now killing Palestinians.
It's a tough neighborhood. We know that. We have a commitment from them, and I assume they're going to honor that commitment. I hope they do. And I understand they brought back some additional bodies today. It's a rough deal when you think of it, right? Very rough. We have our hostages back completely. We were very lucky with that. But it's a tough situation. They brought back bodies today, as you probably know. But they also said they're going to behave. We're going to find out if they behave. If they behave, good. If they don't behave, we'll take care of it.
Did you see the message that he put out about this? Oh, it's pretty hardcore. It's Trump on Hamas. I think he basically says they better stop or we'll kill them. I think basically that's what we're looking at. Here we go. If Hamas continues to kill people in Gaza, which was not in the deal, you will have no choice but to go in and kill them. Thank you for your attention to this matter. This is the stick, by the way. You'd much rather the guy use the carrot than the stick. Last but not least, from that meeting yesterday, I believe this was in the Oval. This is his message. Somebody from CNN trying to get a question on it.
Yeah, please.
Following up on that,
I didn't say you. You CNN, fake news. Go ahead.
I didn't mean to say you. CNN, fake news. No, not you. No, don't even try it. Don't even try it. Sweetheart, get out of here. You're CNN, you're fake news. Did you see this? This is incredible. Coming up, we're going to talk a little bit more about that documentary. We're going to have a Maha update, kind of mixed in, if you were, into the after show today. Well, I think you're going to like this, but this was interesting. Fox News just came out, and ICE has announced an arrest of an illegal alien who was working as a police officer in Illinois.
This just came out. Apparently, as part of Operation Midway Blitz, U.S. Immigration and Customs Enforcement, ICE, announced the arrest of Radule Bojovic, an illegal alien from Montenegro, who was working as a sworn police officer with the Hanover Park Police Department. Bojovic apparently was encountered during a targeted enforcement action as part of Operation Midway Blitz. DHS reminding it's a felony for an illegal alien to possess a firearm. And this fellow apparently was working as a sworn police officer. I know you might not know much about it, but wondering if we can get an initial reaction.
No, this is the first time I'm hearing of it. I will take your facts as the facts, John, on this one. And it's unsurprising to me to hear this because we've seen various examples of this. There was a superintendent, I believe in the state of Iowa, who was here in this country illegally with a final order of removal. We've seen that New York State has been giving out licenses illegally to illegal aliens with literally it says no name given on the driver's license. So these are the cases that happen when you had an administration administration, the Biden administration, for 4 years that completely neglected the laws of our homeland that allowed a mass invasion of tens of millions of illegal aliens, and they have been infiltrated into our communities. So this is another unfortunate example of that, and the Department of Homeland Security is doing incredible work every single day in the face of grave danger and threats, and also Democrats holding their paychecks hostage. We have federal law enforcement who are trying to keep our communities safe, and they are not being paid because of the Democrat Party, but they are doing God's work, and we are very grateful for them, and the president stands behind them 100%.
By the way, did you see Caroline Leavitt, press secretary, is being blasted by Democrats for what she said, I think, in this very same interview, and I have a hard time finding problem with it.
Proved that the Democrat Party's main constituency are made up of Hamas terrorists, illegal aliens, and violent criminals.
That seems to they tend to be like advocating for these days. Do you see anything wrong with this?
That is who the Democrat Party is catering to, not the Trump administration and not the White House and not the Republican Party, who is standing up for law-abiding Americans, not just across the country, but around the world. And that proved that the Democrats...
You know, it's wild to me. The people that have a problem with this and are asking Republicans to denounce this is crazy. I just like, you realize that Democrats have been calling Republicans, Trump, et cetera, people who voted for Trump, fascists. You realize that we've had people shot and killed. They've attempted to kill him and shot. I was looking for some of this is the people going nuts, but looking for some of the people in the comments. This guy is not getting the ratio that he would like. People are very similar in the memes and the responses to that is kind of like what I said, which was, well, I mean, it's not untrue, is it? This yesterday, such a sad, I'm not going to play all of this. Let me just play a little bit. I'm just going to play enough to show you what happened.
My name is Stella. I want to ask.
I'm stopping it right there because that's where he's going to fall. Mitch McConnell, senator there, somehow falls as he's walking through the tunnels under the Capitol building in the Senate area there. Another fall. Question is, how old is too old? You know, these guys, some of them just need to hang it up. He's one of them. I hate to see this. I don't take pleasure in some people laughing at this, seeing some of this. I don't take pleasure. I don't care who you are. I think it's just a shame. And I'm telling you, I don't want to see any more of it. But it's time to hang it up, some of these people. And he's on his way out. But it just really underscores how long these people hold on to power. Speaking of no kings, the no kings protests. Gutfeld's saying what I've said for a while now when I watch these no kings protests is so ridiculous, because if you actually had a king and he was the person that they're saying, Trump was the person they said he was, they'd never be able to protest.
Saturday. I love the no kings thing because if its very existence proves that it's not necessary.
Yes.
You know, if this was a king-led country, you wouldn't be able to have your no kings protests. I mean, who are you protesting? Spain? Denmark? Cambodia, Dana? They have a king. You look at Kathy Griffin and you wonder, how can they not see what this Saturday? I love the no kings thing because if it's very
He's right on the money. And I'm telling you, folks, it's stuff like this that I think wake people up. Yeah, there's going to be people that are engaging. There's going to be people that watch this, and there's going to be people who say, I don't know. Something's off about this. Something doesn't seem right. So that to me is I thought one of the best ways to put it. All right, special bonus program for you today since we're in the after show. In fact, we're going to do a little bit of a Maha update for you. Maha Missy joins us coming up in just a second. We're going to talk about this new documentary that is out now. We'll tell you where to find it. And a couple of other big MAHA update stories you won't want to miss.
Children struggling every day with ADHD? Scott's allergies made it hard to keep up with his friends.
Allergic reactions from accidental food exposure.
Moderate to severe eczema, plaque psoriasis, rheumatoid arthritis,
Food allergies.
allergies,
Seizure.
asthma,
Eczema.
IBS,
Lupus.
ADHD.
We are now the sickest country in the world.
The health of American children is in crisis.
A huge rise in chronic conditions in kids 17 and under.
More than 40% of American children now have at least one chronic health condition.
Autoimmune disease like rheumatoid arthritis, juvenile diabetes, lupus, Crohn's disease, all this IBS.
I had eczema, asthma, all but out. Allergies, stomach issues.
This is to me the one that gets me. Just a few decades ago, 1 in 10,000 children had autism. Today it's 1 in 31.
ADD, ADHD, speech delay, language delay, tics, Tourette syndrome, narcolepsy, sleep disorders, ASD, autism.
But there's no way in the world that these kind of rapid increases in the incidence of disease could be genetic. Genetic change takes generations, centuries to play out.
What's really causing our kids of this generation to be so chronically sick?
What the heck is happening?
It's inconvenient.
America is the sickest nation in the industrialized world. It is now believed that over 54% of our kids have a chronic disease, either a neurological disorder or an autoimmune disease. That's up from only 12.8% back in the 1980s. In roughly 40 years, we have seen the greatest decline in human health ever recorded. What if I told you there is a study that could shed light on this chronic disease epidemic, but no major medical institution seemed willing to do it? What if I told you there was one scientist brave enough to conduct this study?
How you doing, Mark? Good to see you. Nice to see you. Absolutely.
What if I told you that when the study was finished, that scientist was too afraid to publish it? What would you do? Maybe you would do what I did. I got hidden cameras and recording equipment, and I went to ask him why.
Thank you. You're very welcome.
Cool.
Have you all dined with us before?
I want to show you a video.
Okay.
Curious of what your reaction to this is.
Okay. Just hit play here.
Yeah. Go ahead and press play there.
What was the most shocking thing? Because I mean, I know what I've seen.
No, I thought it was important. It's important information because of it did show a difference between the groups.
We have some serious issues.
No, I actually agree with that.
If I can't get this study out, then what hope is there for every kid in the future?
I don't want to say it's not the right thing to do. It's the right thing to do, but I just don't want to.
I mean, obviously, really emotional.
It's a powerful documentary, by the way. There's Ron Johnson, Senator.
Sick. It's really sick.
He's been great about a lot of what we've been seeing and discussing. In the MAHA movement, by the way, welcome in today. Wanted to talk with MAHA Missy for an update on this documentary, some of the big news and the stories that are coming out. Missy, welcome in. We appreciate you being here with us today from My Pure Health Solutions. She's MAHA Missy.
Thanks for having me, Justin.
I coined that term last time we talked, and
I like that.
I think we're going to roll with that when Missy's spent years studying these. If you haven't gone back and watched some of the conversations we've had in the past, couple weeks back, this big conversation about autism and Tylenol and, the experience Missy's had as a MAHA mom who fought autism and won is a story I think you're going to want to hear. But particularly in this documentary, which I thought is Del Bigtree helped put it out. It's a big story that folks need to hear, and it's one again you can watch now. It's called An Inconvenient Study, and they're asking folks to download or stream it in a couple of different places. Mm-hmm. But it's got folks talking. I know you've been talking about these things for a long time now. What do you make about this, and how excited are you to see this?
Oh my gosh, don't make me cry again. Anytime I talk about this, I never thought I'd live to see the day that this is happening, that I mean, I'm like listening to these documentaries going, man, I had all these stats like 15, 20 years ago. I'm like, I'm listening, like we're now the sickest country in the world. I'm like, oh, we've been the sickest country in the world. I mean, years ago, I've been telling people we're like the small, like we're this big. We take 80% of the world's medications in America. And so we've been the sickest country. But the thing is, not everyone knew that, but now it's coming out. So long story, I'm excited. I'm excited because the biggest thing is people can have hope, that there's a lot of hope in our future of being able to see the entities. I mean, I call a lot of things an 80-legged octopus because it's not just vaccines. I mean, we're going to talk about vaccines. It's not just vaccines. There's so much more going on. But I mean, just seeing the devastation that parents have been through, because I know what I went through. I know my journey. I know the dozens and dozens and dozens of families that I've known that have had autistic kids or kids that SIDS. I mean, how many people I've known throughout the years that their child died of SIDS. And my first question is did they get vaccinated? Because I'm like, okay, how old are they right now? 2 months. Okay, that's about the 2-month routine. So I mean, I'm like, this has been I'm excited. It's sad. I mean, I've been living with this for so long, but now the world's starting to see it, and starting to wake up. So I don't know if I answered that right, but I'm excited for what's coming.
It's your honest reaction, which I think is great. Tim over on X said 80% of the meds taken in the world are taken in the U.S. Wow.
That's been going on for a long time, for sure. Yeah. And the thing is, what most people don't understand is that this pharmaceutical industry, it's not just vaccines, it's the pharmaceutical industries. And being able to be literally Del Bigtree, he's been around for a long time. And I believe he was doing a documentary called Vaxxed years ago. And the people that were on that are people that I've known for quite a few years too. Because it's like it's kind of like a lot of us have been in this bubble, and we would meet periodically in different parts of the United States, throughout the years, because we had a chiropractic office, and in the chiropractic office that we owned for 25 years, we were constantly educating clients on vaccines, on why, and the chemicals in the air, all these Monsanto and everything. But we would hang out with people like the Del Bigtree and the people that were on his, because it's kind of like finding your own church. I mean, you would look around in your own town and there's no one on the same wavelength as you. And so you had to get together with people who are all of the same mindset, so you could tell each other, you're not crazy. What did you learn? What have you learned? And we would round table talk a lot of things. But yeah, it's I have a feeling that we're going to see great things in the future. And I think that I think there's going to be a lot more parents that aren't going to be crying at nighttime in the future, because their kids aren't going to die unexpectedly, and their kids are not going to have autism. Their kids aren't going to have peanut allergies. They're not going to develop type 1 diabetes. They're not, I mean, the list goes on and on and on about what those, the vaccine movement, along with, the vaccine movement, it's, even thinking the other day, I was like reading something, and, just along the lines of Tylenol and all of that. Cause now I didn't even know that Tylenol, bound the hands of glutathione. I was like, oh my gosh, if it binds the hands of glutathione and people don't understand what the mechanism of glutathione is in the body, that is the system that is the number one free radical killer. So you've got this army inside your body that's called glutathione, and they are on the lookout for any foreign object in the body, thimerosals, heavy metals, and things like that. And so that was eye-opening, because I never knew about the glutathione connection on that. That makes a lot of sense, because it's taken away the army that knows how to get rid of the stuff. It binds the body. But then the other thing that I was thinking about is that children, the chemicals. I mean, you go back to like my mama's days. I'm 56. My mama, she's dead and gone, bless her heart. But boy, She cleaned with good old fashioned normal cleaning supplies that were all natural, maybe some apple cider vinegar. She just did the natural stuff. Nowadays, if you go down the aisle to buy cleaning supplies, they're not telling you what's in the chemicals that are in those cleaning supplies. They don't have to. That's so crazy that they don't have to tell you the chemicals that are inside the cleaning supplies. Well, we're cleaning, you're putting it on the floors, and then what's happening? Your baby starts to crawl. Baby starts to crawl, and they're getting chemicals through the skin. It's a leaching process. And I'm saying it's not I might be digressing here. This is an 80-legged octopus, and the vaccines, that's huge because, again, how many children are being born every day in America, and how many parents are being having doctors stare down their throat, making them feel like a piece of crap if they say, I don't think I want to get my child vaccinated. I want to check into this. Well, you are going to be treated differently.
And to that point, what I thought was kind of interesting, and I don't know if people caught this over the weekend. Actually, I guess we had this the other day. But Cheryl Hines, wife of RFK Jr., was on The View, and she held her own, and I think did a fantastic job. I don't like to play all the clips, but one of the things she mentioned is to your point, is that RFK, President Trump, the MAHA movement, what's being done is they're saying to women, and this is very empowering, and I think in a lot of ways too, but they're saying to women, hey, we believe you. Mothers who said there was a problem with their kids after there were vaccines given, we want to find out what's going on. We're listening to you, and your voice matters. And it's wild to me that on The View, that message wouldn't resonate a little bit better with those women sitting around that table. I'm sure it did with the moms who were at home. In fact, we've got some interesting polling I want to get into, but first, your reaction on that.
How The View responded?
Well, just the fact that Cheryl was saying, moms, we ought to listen to these moms.
Oh, yeah, because for people that didn't hear about that I spent, when my son, he's now 32, but when my son was about 6 to 8 months old, I'm like, something's wrong. Something's off with him. And I was a young mom. I think I was 24 when he was born. And I was just like, and I would go to the doctor all the time. He had ear infections all the time. So that was always taking me to the doctor because of the ear infections. And so they're constantly putting antibiotics into his body and things like that. And I'm like, he just likes to do this all the time. And he doesn't, by now at this point, and they kept saying, oh, he's fine. And he's now 2 years old and he doesn't even know my name is mom. He doesn't even say mom. He doesn't know how to say yes. He doesn't know how to say no. He doesn't know anything. Literally, I've got this he's a big kid, and he just was sigga digga 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 a fois, a sigga digga digga digga. He was doing that till 4. And finally, all these doctors are like, he's fine. He's going to grow out of it. And I'm like, I don't think this is normal because I've got girlfriends that have kids and they're not doing this. So I had him in speech therapy. We didn't have money for all this stuff. We're a young family. Speech therapy, occupational therapy, and finally into the special ed unit, like a special ed classroom. And he didn't get any better. He didn't join me in my world. He was just out to lunch, is basically what it felt like. And the doctors kept saying the whole time, he's fine. He's fine. And he's gaslighting you. Is really, I guess that I didn't know that word back then, but it's nice to know that moms aren't going to have to go through that. Because things are changing. That's been 32 years of mothers going through that. And again, when owning the chiropractic office that we did, there were probably, I want to say at least a dozen people that I saw either the child passed away from having their routine vaccines, or I watched a couple of them. Their little kids used to come and get adjusted, so their little kids would get adjusted too. And then it was horrible because I remember one mom in particular that she continued to bring her kid in to get adjusted, but now he was in a wheelchair like this. And he was fine. He was perfect. He got the shot, and now he's like this. And she was a nurse, and she couldn't really say too much because she was going to lose her job. That was probably 25 years ago. So it's sorry, I'm like going around in circles, but I'm so hopeful because this is the tip of the iceberg. I mean, once this gets revealed and people start to kind of get used to the mess, used to it, then we can start looking at all the other things that Maha or that Trump and RFK Jr. are probably going to start to reveal.
It is a movement. It's a cultural shift. Moms are being heard. By the way, there's this new poll out. The Washington Post and KFF have done a poll, survey of parents, polling insights on the Maha movement itself. And here's what I think you'll find is kind of interesting of who these people are. And lots of them are probably just your neighbors, your relatives, people next door. Who align with Maha, okay? And these are the key takeaways. About 4 in 10 parents identify as supporters of the Maha movement, they say. 4 in 10.
Okay.
Which is pretty good. And by the way, if you could get 4 in 10 people to agree on anything right now, I think that would be be really cool.
Yeah. That's the needle's moving in the right direction. That's good.
And this is the other thing I'll say too, because I think this is going to be kind of like MAGA itself. That they want to lump people into these categories, and then they want to demonize them. So I think it's probably more than 4 in 10. I think these are 4 in 10 that were willing to answer the question.
Correct.
Because they didn't want, oh gosh, what's this going to be about, right? What are you going to, are you going to, attack me for the way I feel about these things, as they've been for years? These are parents that are across gender, age, race, and ethnicity. So it brings all kinds of people together. Alignment with the movement among parents, highly correlated with political identification, is about 6 in 10 Republican parents, rising to 8 in 10 MAGA Republican parents identify with the president's health movement. Democrat parents are included too, though, about 1 in 6. 1/3 of independent parents identify with the movement. Many of the supporters have the questions about vaccines. They're a little bit skeptic and have real issues with them. In fact, I won't use some of the language that they use, but are completely against. But the broad agreement across parents is some of the bigger issues facing children's health in the U.S. today. Largest shares of both Maha supporting parents and non-Maha parents saying the use of social media on mental health challenges, a big issue as well. So this thing dives deep, and it's something that I'll put up in the stack so people can actually show notes, et cetera, get in and read.
Right.
But this shows, I think, the awakening, as to your point, that's taking place, that we're watching happen right now, that I'm excited to watch. You and I have talked about this. In fact, we talked about Charlie Kirk, sort of the awakening spiritually that's happening. Physically, we like to see things come together as well. We can't make the changes we need to make if we're not healthy, body, mind, and soul, right? All of those things we have to bring together. Now, the reason I bring that up is I'm smack dab in the middle of it. I'm in the middle of this next phase of my transformation, my challenge. By the way, I don't know if you can see the glow on me today. Look how good I'm looking. Just a couple of days in, and I'm feeling great.
Your swag. I see your swag going.
Yeah, that's right. I got the energy back. I'm starting to feel good. I mean, I just feel amazing, and my wife Lizzie's joining me too. By the way, first time I did this, I dropped 40 pounds. Missy, My Pure Health Solutions. You see, this is the details. Healthwithjustin.com. You can go find out more about what I'm doing. But Missy, I just want to take a little bit of time to talk about this. If people want to join my challenge, you still can. You can still jump in. It's probably the simplest thing I've ever done. You're eating real food. There's nothing pre-packaged or planned or anything like that. But I will tell you, one of the best things is just feeling better, to be able to accomplish more. Brain fog is going away, things like that are very important. And you see this every day with all the transformations. But what you do your day job at My Pure Health Solutions, this is what you're saying, and you're getting people that are making, I think, transformations that are going to empower us to not just feel better, right, in your own lives, which is great because it starts with your family.
Right.
That's where it starts at home if you want to make a difference across the country.
Yeah, I love it. I've already talked to a couple of your, what do I call your listeners, your podcasters, your audience.
Freedom Fam.
Freedom Fam. I talked to
it.
a couple of Freedom Fam people to this week, and it's really cool getting to hear your people talk. They love you. They absolutely love you, and some of them, they're listening to you. they aren't even in Michigan. They're like traveling. I talked to one lady, she's in North Carolina in an RV traveling. She's like been following me for a while. But no, it's
That's awesome.
yeah. Oh, it's fun. And so hopefully what people that there is always a cause. There's always a cause to the problems that people have going on in their body. Weight is one of them. And the weight loss industry that's out there is a $90 billion industry that is going to sell it's going to sell everybody that's doing it a one size fits all approach to how you can help yourself lose weight to a very unique problem that's going on the inside of every single person's body. So metabolism shutting down needs to have a customized approach to it. And that's what I've been doing. Again, I've been blessed to be able to the last 30 years be able to be around some of the sharpest minds, let's just say the United States. In that time, I've been able to discover things that were, I would say, breakthrough 100 years ago, things 100 years ago, believe it or not. You can go to my website and look at the Dr. Royal Rife's banquet. But in 1931, the team of doctors and scientists of the United States, they were the who's who of the who's who back then. They traveled to California to honor Dr. Royal Rife with a banquet. I don't think you guys have that slide. With a banquet that was titled, listen to this, you guys, The Cure, the End to All Diseases. I don't know, just if you like jump to my website and find my bio, that's how you find it. But anyway, it's just a little thing. Trust me, people can see it. But anyways, Dr. Royal Rife cured cancer. And by 1931, the world knew that cancer was able to be eradicated in the body. And as simple as knowing, if people understand that every single cell in your body is literally operating just like a cell phone, wireless technology, a signal comes off of this phone. If I dial someone's number, a signal leaves in search of that person's phone. How? Because it's a coded signal to one person's other phone. So cell to cell communication. There you go. There he is right there. So that amazing man right there had this idea, thanks to Nikola Tesla, that said, hey, folks, if you understand the secrets of this universe, you have to know what energy, frequency, and vibration, what are they? What do they mean? Frequency, signal. We use a signal or a remote control to turn your TV on. You're turning on, you're activating a signal. So cancer has a signal coming out of it. Well, how could you can you turn off the signal to something that's a frequency? The answer is yes. We do it all the time. We shut off our TV, we turn off our phone, we use remote controls to open up a garage door. I mean, it's electrical. Dr. Royal Rife made a machine that sent the opposite signal of this cancer cell right back into the cancer cell and gone, canceled. So if you could cancel cancer, you can cancel bacteria. What is bacteria? Well, that specific bacteria has a unique frequency signal coming out of it. Know the signal, turn it off. No more bacteria. Simple, easy peasy. So that's using that mentality. Why don't people know about this? Well, the cancel culture existed way back then too, everybody. The cancel culture for Dr. Royal Rife was, it was sad. He started making all these machines because everybody in all hospitals wanted this machine to cure cancer because it was now starting to kill people. Why? Because of the polio vaccine. Vaccine. So anyways, all these hospitals wanted these machines. And so Dr. Rife starts making them. Well, that was a problem to the government back then. So they knocked on his door, wanted to buy his patent to that machine. And he said no. So they bankrupted him so he could no longer make these machines. And after they bankrupted him, so he couldn't build them anymore, they burned all of his findings down to the ground. That's the cancel culture back then. So when people kind of like look to be like, I don't know how this works. I'm like, just call me and have a conversation. I'll explain it because people can get their lives back. I mean, I'm telling you, people with type 2 diabetes, high blood pressure, sleep apnea, cholesterol, GERD, anti-anxiety, depression. There's a reason why people are experiencing that. It's an inside cell job. It's a cellular miscommunication. And so if we can turn cells off, we can turn all the cells back on that's controlling your metabolism and get people into get healthy again. Maha. Get healthy again.
Get healthy again. Yes. And one person at a time. I love it. That's why we continue to do these updates. I think it's going to be important so that people can stay on top. It's one of the biggest pieces of the platform for the Trump administration this time around. And I think it's one of the biggest that's going to save this country. So we'll have these weekly updates with Maha Missy Malone. But if you want to talk to her, if you have questions about what I'm doing, obviously in the challenge that I'm on, the transformation I'm undergoing, my wife Lizzie joined me. A few other folks are joining me as well. Love to have you involved in this. Of course, still time to jump in. Go to healthwithjustin.com, or you can call her today at 269-964-4044. That's 269-964-4044. I saw somebody asking in the chat, Bonnie asking about, I want to call her. Yeah, give her a call. I'd love to talk to you about any number of these issues, and always a pleasure, because you've been a warrior for this for a long time. That's why I'm so excited to get your reaction on that. And not only that documentary, there's a couple others. There's another Vax that's out there as well. And of course, people are waking up. They're seeing these things happen more and more, and it's big news.
It's a new day. The best is yet to come. It really is.
You said it best. Maha Missy. Until next time, thanks again. Healthwithjustin.com. Do it today.
Thank you, Justin.
Folks, it starts with you. Missy, appreciate you. God bless. Back with more next week. Man, oh man. Love to have you here for it. Of course, you can catch up with broadcasts over the weekend, podcast drop, new episodes and more all weekend long. Find out more. Get to stack at justinbarclay.com while you're there. Make it a great one. God bless.